Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic, and today I want to show you how to do a bit of stash busting. And today I'm going to make a very quick little notebook, so you could use this for journaling, for memory keeping. I'm going to turn it into a little 6x4 pocket page book, and I've been hoarding this pack, I have to say, this particular paper pad by Maggie Holmes Flourish. It's a long-standing favourite. This is probably the third one I've had, but we're getting to the point now where I really do need to move on, get it used so that I can buy some more. So I know all of the new kits will be out soon, all the new designs, so I'm picking up my favourite pieces from this pack. Now, because they're all going to be in the same notebook, I'm purposely looking for, well, obviously this set matches itself anyway, but I'm purposely looking for images similar sizes and similar styles, so I'm just picking out the flower patterns at this stage from the pack. The next step really is just to try and put them in an order that you actually want them to appear when they are made into a notebook. So this is why here I'm just kind of looking to decide which way up do I want the flower patterns to be. So I'm turning them around, making sure that I've not got too much of the dark reds together or the pinks together, and I'm just alternating them. This is really where you'll get a better output if you spend time at this stage just making sure that you've got the order right for each of the pattern designs. Now with this particular video, if you're a regular subscriber, you know that I do normally fast forward, but for this particular one I wanted to keep it exactly real time, so you could see that this is easily achievable in around 10 minutes. So once I've got my order right for my pattern, you can see my very old and trusty paper cutter is struggling here with the layers, but I'm just trimming off those edges. Now, I didn't mention before, but I've actually chosen 6 sheets here. It was probably 1 sheet too many, I have to say, because these paper pads are really quite good quality. They're quite nice and thick. So it really does depend on the size you want, but I would definitely go no more than 6. Possibly 4 or 5 would have been a better solution for me. But anyway, I'm persevering with this, and I'm just trimming off the top bit, the kind of manufacturer's strip where we have that perforated hole at the top. But you do see, because I have turned some of them around, because I wanted to get the pattern the right way that I preferred, you'll see that I've actually done a major fail. I shouldn't have trimmed them all at once. I should have actually done each sheet separately to trim that off. But that's no biggie, we can work around it. We're crafters after all, and things do go wrong. So just getting up my score pad now, and I'm just running that score pen down the centre just to make it a little bit easier for it to fold. And once I've got that score line in, I'm just pressing again on the pad. It's a good opportunity to do this because you get another feel for if you've got the order right for the patterns. And you can see here, this is the time that I realised that, damn it, I've actually cut them all on the one edge rather than the mixed edge. I'll probably just cover it with embellishments or tie some ribbon around it. I'll make a feature of it, I'll make it work. I'd rather that than turn it around again or even waste the sheets that I did want in this particular notebook. For this notebook I'm going to put together a little memory journal, I guess. My mum's birthday coming up soon, she'll be 72. I'm making a trip back to England especially for it. So what I'm going to do is just put some nice little journaling stuff in there and some old photographs for her to keep. And this paper I think will be perfect for that. I really do love this, and I have been hoarding it, but I do need to use it. There's no point keeping it in your stash and never using it. I've decided I like because this top cover, or the book cover if you like, has got the foil. That's going to be my outer page, but again I will still embellish that anyway. And I'm just flicking through here, making sure that I do have that the right way around that I prefer. Now I would say, because I've got such strong floral patterns, such big images, you can see now all of my blank pages are on the left hand side. At the front of the book, and then when we get to the middle of it, it changes to be the second half of the book. If you want to do a mix of plain rather than all patterned, or a bit of a more minimalistic pattern, absolutely this would work well. I'm not too worried about it because I know I'm still going to decorate the white side of those pages. Similarly, if you're going to use some pattern paper that's got double-sided printing on that, again just bear in mind how it's going to look together and how you're going to make that work. Now what I've got here is actually some tracing paper. I've been using this a bit more rather than vellum paper. It's a little bit thinner, so it's, for me, I prefer it when it's in a notebook. The only downside is it is a bit more delicate and fragile, so you've got to be careful not to crease it. It rips quite easily. But I prefer the texture of it. It prints absolutely fine. I've been printing from my computer some journaling on some of this. It goes through that absolutely fine. But as I say, it's a little bit thinner and not as thick as vellum. So I'm going to use that in between some of these sheets, again just as a bit of a feature really, and I'm just going to go flip through and pick some of the pattern pages that are a little bit darker, just to try and minimize the fullness of the pattern. So I'm slipping one in here, and I'm not doing too many of these, it is just more of a little bit of a decoration. And you can see that's my centre now, and I decided to keep the pattern on the centre of the picture because I will just have a sentiment across the middle of that. Now you can see how quickly that's come together. That's only took me about 5 minutes, and now we're ready to construct the notebook by putting a binder down the centre. Now I know a lot of crafters do have a sewing machine to stitch onto their layouts, but I am actually trying to learn to dressmake, so my sewing machine is already set up with some nice thread and a brand new needle ready for my project that I'm working on. So instead I'm going to staple the centre of this. Now, I'm not really sure what this little gadget's called. I got this from Studio Calico, God, about 3-4 years ago. But any little drawing pin or pinboard pin would do, a little bodger. And I've just made little holes where I want the staple to be. The little mat that I've got underneath just protects my work surface, and I've just used the stapler just to measure out the distance apart. Now I do make this look more difficult than it actually is because I'm trying to keep my head out of the shot of the camera, but I find it's easier to pierce all of the sheets in one go, and then once I've got the staple on the top layer or the cover of the book, then as you can see here, adding each page separately onto that, because the holes are already in there, it's just a matter of guiding them on. And as I say, if you're only doing 4, 5, 6 sheets, it doesn't take too long to do. If you are going to use vellum or some kind of tissue paper in the middle, again it's probably more cautious to do it this way so you don't accidentally rip that. Once you've got your stapler all the way through, I'm just using the nearest thing that's closest to me, which is the bone folder that came with my score mat. Probably not the best idea to use. Definitely wouldn't do it with my Teflon bone folder, but anything really just to press that down. If you're lucky enough to have a long arm stapler, absolutely that would be the quickest and most ideal way of doing it, but they are difficult to come across and probably not worth the investment if you're not going to do this very often. As I say, I tend to do this if I'm putting little gifts together for people and if I want to use up my stash. So once that's finished, it's just a matter of going through each sheet and really just pressing again with the bone folder just to make sure that it is nicely aligned before you go to trim it out. And then naturally all those layers of paper are going to have a little bulk to them, so they're going to be quite thick. So I'm trying here with my little paper cutter just to trim those edges off, but my preferred is the scissors, so you'll see me get those out pretty soon. You'll see my left-handedness fails me again. It's not the easiest thing to do when you're left-handed to trim some of these sheets, but that is the easiest way, just to trim off the excess, and you don't need to worry about it being too accurate. Sometimes it looks quite nice, I find, depending on the pattern paper, to have a little bit of an uneven edge to them as well. It makes it look a little bit more rustic, I think. And that's the notebook done. So I hope I've inspired you to have a go yourself and give it a try and see what you come up with. If you're not too sure, maybe use some scrap paper to begin with till you get the knack of it, but it is super easy to do. There's lots of tutorials on Pinterest as well as YouTube. I've been inspired by many other people, which gave me the idea to do it myself. I've chosen this size because this is from a 6x8 paper pad, so when it's folded in half it's perfect for 6x4 photographs, but obviously you can choose whichever size you prefer, especially if you're working with 12x12 sheets to begin with. Hey, thanks for watching. If you've got any comments about this video, please leave them below. I'd love to see them. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That way YouTube knows to recommend similar ones for you. And finally, if you'd like to see more from me, and I hope so, please subscribe by clicking the link below. I post new content every weekend.